What's going on, Capital XTRA Breakfast? It's Robert Bruce and Shada Marie. What's up?
Right now in the studio, we are joined by a global superstar.
One of our own British-born entrepreneurs, East London to be precise.
She is the co-founder and CEO of Good American, and founding partner of Skims.
And she serves as the chairwoman of the 15% pledge, making sure black-owned businesses are being seen.
She is an absolute star and someone we should all take notes from, of course. It's Emma Grede, everybody!
She's amazing. You got an introduction. My goodness.
Oh, rightly deserved, man. Emma, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here with you lot.
Welcome to Capital XTRA Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to home soil. You are a London girl, born and bred in East London.
Through and through.
Looking back on your younger years, where did your spark for business come from?
You know, where I grew up, I didn't have any money. And so I was always trying to figure out, like, where am I going to find that? I've had a job since I was 12. And so for me, I just followed the money. And there was that piece of being super interested in fashion and loving, you know, an industry. But I just needed to get to a place where I could afford the things I wanted. And so I followed that. And I'm shamelessly commercial. I have no problem saying that. And I'm lucky I do something that I really love. But it never started out that way. I did all the bad things and all the hard things before I got to a place where I actually, you know, was successful.
What did the hard things teach you?
You know, I think they taught me that life is long and that the journey is long, and you cannot, there's no such thing as an overnight success. There's no such thing as a self-made person. I rely on a lot of other people to get to where I am. And I think that I've really learned that this idea and what we see, maybe the perception in social media, is that you can be an overnight success. And for me, there's no such thing. I've been on a journey. I've done all the jobs. I've done all the things. It's like I started at the bottom. I've really, truly worked my way up. And I think that that, again, is something that helps, because I understand what every single person brings to the table, what everyone's contributing. And when you've done the job, when you've done the menial things at the bottom of the ladder, it gives you a much better understanding of, like, who's coming to, like, who's additive to the process and why do you need to respect that in an organisation. So I think it's really helpful.
We've seen you speak before, and you just mentioned now about community and working with people and relying on your team. How do you go about finding the right people that are going to align best with you?
That's an amazing question, because it's probably one of the most important and overlooked things in business. You don't get anywhere on your own, right? And so I spend about 20% of my time speculatively interviewing people. That means when there's absolutely no job there, I will meet you anyway, because talent is talent, and talent is how I grow the things that I do. And so I'm always looking out for amazing people, but it's also about understanding, like, I hire for attitude, not experience. So you can come to me because I know, like, I didn't go to university, I dropped out of school, and I'm still the very best at what I do. And so I imagine there's plenty of people out there that haven't had a traditional path, haven't had a traditional education, but they've still got something to bring to the business. So for me, it's all about, what's your attitude? How are you coming in to a space, into a room? What do you have to give? Not necessarily like, what is your resume?
That's so good to know, man.
I was going to ask, how have you found navigating, you know, being so successful, being a black woman at the top in a place that people might not often see women who look like you at the top? But you just mentioned, I mean, when people are listening, it's like, let me make sure I have something really important to say. Did you find any struggles? Did you find any difficulties in that period of time?
Well, listen, I think it's really interesting because being black in England is very different from being black in America.
Yeah.
And you feel those differences intrinsically. That isn't to say that one's better than the other, but there is a big difference. And people talk about race in a different way in America. It's on the table as a point of discussion every single day in every single conversation. But in a good way, because actually you get to use what it is that you have and what's unique about you. And I think that's what has been great for me. I never saw it as something that would be negative. I was like, there's one of me? Great, because you'll notice me. You will see me, you'll hear what I've got to say. So I kind of have always tried to think it may not have been something that for everybody else was necessarily a positive thing, but I was going to spin it that way.
I wanted to say, on a slightly curveball, you've got a nice rock on your hand, yeah? And we know your husband's... that little thing.
Like, this weren't my first rock. I have to tell you, this is ring number 3.
It's number 3.
Well, not third husband, third ring.
Let me clarify.
No, we grew together, me and this man. We were like, coming up. And I was like, let's keep going.
I wanted to ask, because your husband's also a businessman, how important is it having the right person in your corner?
Oh my goodness. How long you got, babe? Because this is a true thing, and I think it's all about your company and who you spend time with. There's a great quote, which I will totally mess up, which is like, you become the average of the people that you surround yourself with, right? My husband has been my greatest champion. He was also my first investor. But we work together. And I think that you need someone, especially me. I'm a mum. I have 4 kids. My husband took my kids back on the plane today because I need to, continue work and be here and do what I'm doing. And you need that. If you're going to be successful, you don't just need to surround yourself with great people at your home, in your workplace. It's like your partner, that person you choose to share everything with, needs to be your number one person. So we've been together for 16 years, and that has been probably one of the most important decisions that I ever made.
16 years,
a good man.
16 years, 4 kids, 3 rings. It's good, man. It's not bad at
businesses.
all. It's not bad at all.
It's not bad.
So talk to us about Dragon's Den. How did you find Dragon's Den?
It's so interesting because, like I said, I do Shark Tank in the US, and I was dying to do something that my family can watch. Because I tried to tell my nan, like, you can watch it on YouTube. She's like, babe. She's like, if it ain't on the telly, it ain't happening. So I literally, when I got an agent, I asked them for one thing. I was like, can you just get me on Dragon's Den so my nan can watch me on the telly? Because that's a thing for my family, So I asked to do it. They said yes. I was the first ever guest. I'm re-returning, so you can catch it on BBC iPlayer. But it honestly, to me, is again, like, what happens when someone who wouldn't usually get a chance gets a chance? What do they do? And I just am obsessed with that idea of who gets to be successful, who gets a seat at the table, who gets to be in business. And when you can change that narrative and give it to someone who is so ready for the opportunity, so wants that shift in their life, like, magic things happen. And so I'm so incredibly happy to have invested in these 2 beautiful, amazing boys from Birmingham who are, single mom. They're 2 boys out of 4 kids. They're just absolute grafters. And they created this amazing seasoning and sauce brand, did it by themselves, put 100 quid in each. And they, at this point, they're like making the seasonings. They're wrapping the tins. They're doing everything. And I'm like, why would I not invest?
All right, Emma, we do this with everyone that comes on the show, yeah? You're 1,000,000 miles per hour, right?
I am.
So this is going to be simple for you. 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to ask you as many questions as possible. You just got to answer as many questions as possible, yeah?
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Should we do it, Shayna?
Let's do it. 60 seconds with Emma Grede in 3, 2, 1. What is your CEO walk-in song?
Oh, it's Nicki Minaj, The Best.
What was your first ever business idea?
Like selling sweets together in like little packages, like packaging up sweets and selling them for £1.
What's the biggest risk that you've taken in your career so far?
Moving to America.
If we were to come to LA, what 3 things do we need to do straight away?
Oh, you need to come and see me. For sure. You absolutely need to experience the food scene in LA. Like, it is probably the most diverse, incredible, amazing food scene that you can imagine. And then you need to not believe what they tell you. Don't believe them, they're lying.
What song reminds you of your childhood?
Oh, anything like Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye. Like, my mum was a Motown person, so that was Diana Ross. Like, my whole childhood feels like Motown 25.
Yeah. If you were a dancehall artist, what would your name be?
I don't know what to answer because it would be so rude.
Give it a go. We'll bleep it if we have to.
I got 4 kids. Taking me back.
Taking me back. All right, we'll leave you with that one.
As you said, the way you've come to London this time round, you've shut down the city like the way rappers shut down the city. It's been a big buzz. We've seen all of this. We've seen you meeting people, but we wanted to bring you a few people on the radio who wanted advice.
I love that.
Yeah, so we've got some voice notes to play for you.
Hi Emma, Annie here from Faye Flowers. I'd love to ask you, what should a female entrepreneur like me be looking for in a potential investor when seeking funding?
I love that question because, money is actually surprisingly quite easy to come by when you're looking for investors. There's a lot of investors out there. Investors are actually there to be more than just the money. They should be guidance. They should be experts in distribution. They should really know about your category. Don't be too fascinated by the cash aspect of it. Be fascinated by the idea of what else is this person bringing me?
All right, we have another one for you.
Morning, Emma. I'm an inspiring business owner, but one of my setbacks is my fear of failure. Did you ever experience this? And how did you overcome it?
I feel like everyone is scared, and it's actually like a very human self-preservation type thing to be scared. But there is this thing that I see with especially female women in business. It is just like imposter syndrome. And I never actually had imposter syndrome because I was brought up with this idea. You know, my mum would always say to me, Emma, you're not better than anybody else, but nor is anyone better than you. And I think that you have to remember that everyone is faking it. I have been in rooms with people that you just, you know, like I admire, I aspire to, and then I get next to them and I'm like, really? Yeah. Like, are you crazy? And so I think that we build people up in our heads and we get fearful of what we don't know, but we don't ever like kind of go, you know what? They've got it, I've got it. Like, who's got what? Do you know what I mean? So this idea that someone is like better than you or somebody knows better than you is something that's all in your head.
Emma, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Happy to have you anytime you come back to the UK.
Oh, I'll come all the
feel
time.
free,
Come
man.
on
I should
over.
just be in this room. Yeah, with you beautiful lot.
You hang out, you can do radio with us, it's all good. It's all
And
good.
before you go, what are you saying for the rest of 2025? What's next for you? What's on the horizon?
Well, you know what? It's so funny because actually I feel like, you know, when you create great business ideas, they have to go in lockstep with what's happening in the culture. And I think most of us have been looking at women's sports in an entirely different way in the last year. Like, I certainly wasn't like a WNBA person. I've been like sitting there at the Lakers for 8 years since I've been at this in the US, but never seen a women's game until about a year and a half ago. So I'm obsessed with this idea of like what's happening in women's sports. Of course, I'm someone that does apparel, so I've created an incredible brand that's all around, you know, luxury sports merch. We signed an amazing deal with the NFL, and so I'm excited about doing something different, being in a space that's entirely new to me, and me actually learning stuff, because it's like I couldn't name all the teams in the NFL even today. But you know, it's like I'm kind of excited by like what is happening in the culture, and I feel like it's a great thing for women. It's a very, very male-dominated space, and everybody knows I love a male-dominated space. So we're going to see what we can do in the world of sports, babes.
Wicked.
Amazing.
All right.
Let's give it up one last time for Emma Grede, everybody.